But listen,
100%,
something that
Andrew.
worries me a little more, just as much actually, stunned me in fact when I read it today. Kindergarten in a town in East Germany doesn't want to be named after Anne Frank anymore. That's the Dutch Jewish girl, wrote that famous story about hiding from the Nazis for 2 years until her family was betrayed and she died in a concentration camp just 15 years old. Now, the head of the kindergarten says, well, the name of the school now is too hard to explain to children when so many of them are from immigrant families. And she wanted a name that was more inclusive. What does this tell you?
Well, I think this is symptomatic. It's really disturbing, and particularly only a few weeks after. So as you said, the story of Anne Frank, every child should learn that story. In the West, we value resilience, we value heroes, we value people who fought against evil, survived against evil. The story of Anne Frank, I mean, I remember as a child going to Amsterdam to the house. It's one of the great stories all children should learn. A young innocent girl who survives against evil, survives against the odds, and actually records her experiences during that terrifying period. Well, what a surprise. It's only, we never thought we would see that again. Never again was the promise. But in fact, we've just seen in the last month, as I was just saying earlier, in Israel itself, we've seen Jewish children hiding in attics and safe rooms, and being butchered by people every bit as bad as the Gestapo or the SS. So the story is more relevant than it's ever been. It's a story that gives faith, gives hope, sheds light. And to ban that story or to say that we're discarding that story because of diversity and inclusion just gives the lie, Andrew, to everything we've ever been told about diversity and inclusion. Everything that the woke multiculturalism has tried to do, it's a lie. It only works one way. There is basically inclusion means exclusion. We will exclude this wonderful story of a Jewish girl because she's Jewish, and we're in a presumably largely Muslim suburb of Germany.
We don't know if it's Muslim,
we are not
but I have to say,
diverse at all. We have a mono-woke culture which is infusing Western Europe, and the absolute lie that we were given, that multiculturalism meant new cultures would come, we would all be enriched by it. No, it's worked in exactly the opposite way, as we are seeing throughout the world, unfortunately.
Look, I don't know if they're Muslim immigrants. I'm guessing, I'm presuming they might be. I'm wondering who else would be offended or feel excluded by a story of a Jewish girl killed by Germans. And this, it's okay for Germans' children to know that story, even though their countrymen are the villains here, but apparently not these immigrants. It's weird. But the other thing is, this idea, the children don't know about it. Isn't the whole idea about school to teach them what's important?
To tell them.
It's not to adapt to their ignorance. It's to actually teach them what they don't know. I don't get it.
And this is what is happening, Andrew. Throughout the West, we are seeing those heroes, those values that we had being eradicated in favour of new woke values.
Rowan Dean, you're absolutely true. Turns out that immigration has been an invitation to actually change our culture. Demographics changes the culture, particularly if you insist, I must now do what the immigrants say because otherwise offence and inclusion. I think it's quite sad what's going on in some parts, particularly Labor politics. Rowan Dean, thank you so much indeed for your time.